Hello, SPHL and Rivermen fans. Welcome to the video, and as always, thanks for watching. We've had a few things happen in the league since I've last done a video. Some more signings have come out, some more departures have came out as well. Starting to see some new faces in the league with some teams, and seeing some familiar faces move on. Rather, that's down in the feds because they're getting money thrown at them. As I have opinions on that, but that's not what this video is about. Rather, it's ECHL or overseas. We've seen some departures, and sucks for us, but it's awesome for the players. They're getting their paydays or advancing their careers, and that's what you want to do. You want to advance your career forward from a developmental league, and you want to make more money doing what you love to do. So, you can't fault the players for that. But yeah, I have seen some interesting moves and signings. What's that mean for the league? That's all for speculation and debate. It's all opinion. I don't claim to know everything. I'm no expert. I'm no journalist or nothing. I don't do this for a living. I'm just a fan like anybody else. And I love to talk hockey, especially SPHL hockey. I've really fallen in love with this league since watching the Rivermen play in it. So it's something that I just really enjoy talking about. Not a whole lot of my opinions have changed on what I think teams can do as far as expectations are concerned. Where they would possibly rank what might happen, as the season goes on. Not a lot's changed. Even with some of these signings and departures that's came out, I still expect Rivermen and Havoc to be at the top of the leaderboard, 1 and 2. Which order is up for debate. I'm very confident in the Rivermen. I do know a few things, but like I said, I'm not a journalist, and I don't work for the Rivermen, so I'm not going to sit here and play spoiler and share, what I know about what's going on with them. But I do know that they got a pretty good roster that they have put together. They just hasn't announced, everybody that's on it, kind of like Storm that basically announced a whole roster before August. So Rivermen are, gonna leak out a name or two through, every week or so, and that's kind of the way it's always been done with them. But, like I said, there's no reason for me not to be confident. A lot of people think Rivermen, including some Rivermen fans, are going to take a step back, losing players like Wilkie and Jordan Ernst and Tristan Trudell. I don't buy into that. I don't think we'll take a step back, honestly. Don't get me wrong; those players have been great for us, especially Ernst and Wilkie. Like they've, Defender of the Year and scoring champion and MVP. So obviously they've done great things for us. Tristan's done great things for us as well. As much as I love and respect him, I do think he took a step back in year 2. I think he put too much emphasis on being physical. Yes, he's a big guy. He can be physical and fight, but he also had talent in other areas that he kind of let drop off. I feel that he could have done better in. I really thought he would take a step forward in year 2, but I'd be lying if I said he did that. Unfortunately, I think he took a step back. Although as entertaining as it was to see how physical he can be and to see him fight, sometimes that would hurt us more than help us, and he would get carried away with it, I think. injuries kind of caught up with him as well. You know, when you're one of the most physical players in the league, you're going to deal with hand injuries, shoulder injuries, back and ribs and concussions. Like, that just comes with the territory if you're one of the most physical players in the league. And unfortunately, I think that took away from some of his game, being able to cause havoc in front of the net and score goals and set other people up to score. But, you know, as of now, he's retired. Doesn't mean we'll never see him in a Riverman uniform ever again. And same with Wilkie and Ernst. We could see them back in a Riverman uniform at some point in time, but they are not going to start with us. Who's going to be in the top 3 with the Rivermen? Could be a few teams. Few teams could surprise us, that being Knoxville Ice Bears or Fayetteville Marksmen could very well fill that void in the top 3. You obviously always got to throw the Dogs name in there, and Birmingham Bulls as well. I think Birmingham Bulls did a pretty good job in getting Dyson Skinner to back up Hayden Stewart. We all know Hayden Stewart's going to re-sign with them, even though it hasn't been announced yet. I mean, if you watch the league and you know this league, you know Stewart's going to obviously be the number 1 guy and play in front of Skinner. But that's a good 1-2 punch after losing a guy like Austin Lotz, who, you know, actually started a lot last year and played very well. So getting Dyson Skinner was I think vital for Birmingham Bulls. So, you know, they're doing good things. Knoxville Ice Bears, you know, they've signed some good players back. They haven't announced Mundinger yet, but again, like I said, we all know Dinger's going to play with Knoxville and going to be signed there. So, you know, Dinger just, in my opinion, keeps getting better. I think making it all the way to the President's Cup Finals, I think that's going to light a fire under him. I think you're going to see his best season in the SPHL coming up. Doesn't mean he's going to be perfect. I'm not saying he's like going to win goaltender of the year. I think he could be a candidate for goaltender of the year. But I do think you see one of his best seasons in the SPHL coming up. And hopefully for him, there's a team defense in front of him that can help him out with that as well. So, you know, like I said, you could still, in that top 3, see, you know, Fayetteville or Ice Bears. I would say Ice Bears might be the favorite to be in that top 3 right now. But Marksman ain't far behind. And, you know, I think adding somebody like a Caden Cahill to their roster, I think he fits perfectly with that organization. And I think he'll play well. He'll give you everything he's got, and he's a very talented kid. So, you know, you're going to be excited to see him for a full season in Fayetteville. And like I said, you can't really count out the Dogs. Dogs have been really good, you know, these past few years, and so you can never really count them fully out. But, you know, yeah, that could be, you know, your top 5 teams. You know, Rivermen, Havoc, Ice Bears, Marksmen, and Bulls. That could very well be your top 5. And you know, like I said, you can't forget about the Dogs. As far as the bottom goes, I don't think much has changed there at all either. I think right now, Ice Flyers and Mayhem are 2 great candidates so far to miss playoffs yet again and finish 9th and 10th. I know it's, you know, people can yell at me all they want for already saying that, but I mean, just use common sense and your judgment and what's happened over the past few seasons. There's nothing that's jumped out about what these teams have done to improve their situation and get out of that spot. Look, I love Josh Boyko. I love that kid. He's an outstanding goalie. I have so much respect for Josh Boyko. When he's on, he could be one of the toughest goalies to score on in this league. if that's all you got, that's not enough. You need more than Josh Boyko to make the playoffs. And, they've lost a few players. I think Cup went to Knoxville and Nazareth went overseas. Boyko's got to have help. He ain't going to do it on his own. And, same with Pensacola Ice Flyers. They got rid of Bondarenko and got Parrish and Morin. Parrish is going to Europe, and Moran has signed down in the Feds, and he's going to play down there. So, right now, those two players that would have made great additions are a non-factor for Ice Flyers, and you lost Bondarenko. Now, the caveat to that is I don't think Bondarenko will probably show up in Quad Cities and play. I'd be surprised if he does, at least to start. Who knows? He might. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I don't think he will, honestly. I don't see a big jump from the other teams. Like Thunderbolts, Quad City Storm. Storm's two new goalies that they got signed, Zane Steves and Tyler Masternock. Don't know nothing about Tyler Masternock. Don't know how good of a goalie he is. Just have to wait and see on him. And Steves, I'm not saying he sucks. He's a capable goalie. He can hold the net down and have some good games for you. Is he any better than Brent Moran? Is he going to put you over the top and, help you succeed better than what Moran would? No, I honestly don't see that. I think best case scenario, it's a wash. I mean, he does no worse but no better than what Moran would do. So we'll just have to see what Zane Steves has to offer the Quad City Storm. But like I said, it's not like I'm blown away by that signing. It doesn't make me any more nervous than if Moran was there. So, like I said, it's the only two teams that are a threat to finish out of the playoff race outside of Macon and Ice Flyers would probably be Storm and Thunderbolts. And I don't know. I still think Thunderbolts and Storm might have more of an edge over Macon Mayhem and Pensacola Ice Flyers at this point. So, there's no Cole Ceci with the Thunderbolts, at least to start the season. You could see him come back at some point in time, but at least to start the year, you won't see Cole Ceci there. So we'll have to see who they have tending goal. Rather that's Ty Taylor or Taylor Joseph. Who knows? They don't have a goalie signed, and no, I don't think they protected any other goalie but Cole Ceci. So we'll have to see what they have up their sleeve as far as that goes. But yeah, I mean, with all the departures and new faces and signings, not much has changed in my expectations for the teams coming up in the season. Like I said, I still expect Rivermen and Havoc to be the top two teams. I expect Knoxville to make a big jump and possibly round out, that top three. They're very capable. I expect to see Marksman play well this season. They've been steady as she goes. But with them, I do think they might take a step up and play a little bit better and more consistent this year, especially if they can hold their team together. Birmingham Bulls, they're always middle of the pack right now. So, like I said, I see basically the same. Nothing's really changed. Maybe Storm can go above Thunderbolts and be 7th instead of 8th. I don't know. But it doesn't look good for Macon and Pensy to make playoffs, in my opinion, still, with the rosters I've seen. I don't expect a big jump from Quad City Storm or Evansville Thunderbolts. I think there's been some departures that may hurt the Dogs, that might drop them a little bit. I think Bulls will be a middle-of-the-pack team. I think worst case, Fayetteville's a middle-of-the-pack team. But, yeah, I think that about covers it. I'll probably get on here when there's some more signings, maybe in September, when there's a few more names added to some rosters. And we'll go from there and see if my opinion has changed in expectations. But so far, they have not. The expectations are still the same as when I put out my expectation video. And, yeah, nothing's really changed. So with that, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you guys for joining me and watching. And as always, I keep it Riverman style.